And we're back on Southern Indiana Now, another fantastic edition that we've worked hard to bring you. I got to give a plug to our producer, Erica Malone. She works every day to bring you fantastic content for our 4 categories of Southern Indiana Now. Who's your homestead, who's your happenings, who's your hustle, and who's your good news. Plus, she researches all the area events coming up. So if you have something that you would like to see us feature, you can reach out to us on our website at southernindiananow.com, and you can send us an email. We would love to hear from you. So please engage and let us connect with what's important to you in Southern Indiana. Want to remind you that, of course, you need to get your tickets for Crossroads Acoustic Fest. That event is coming up at the end of April. You can go to crossroadsacousticfest.com. You can click on that and get yourself set up with some tickets there. You can choose a 1 or 2 day ticket. It's an awesome festival where you kind of get to decide your listening experience, whether you want, whatever location you want. There's going to be lots of different smaller, intimate concerts taking place in various venues. It's going to be located downtown Seymour. If you've never enjoyed music this way, I highly recommend it. It is a great experience. You're going to love it because once you've done it, you're going to seek it out again and again. So it's going to be a lot of fun. CrossroadsAcousticFest.com. We're so honored to have Stephanie Strothmann with us with Purple Shamrock Farms. And that name encompasses quite a bit. And first of all, we're talking about homesteading for this episode, Stephanie. So you were definitely the candidate to have on as a guest today.
Oh, you're so kind.
Well, you have your fingers into a lot of stuff, like literally including bees. So many people have interest in keeping bees. How do you get started? What are some of the things you need to watch for other than getting stung to death? And then, what are some of the benefits and what are some of the joys that have come out of that for you at Purple Shamrock Farms?
Absolutely. So at Purple Shamrock Farm, I love to say now we're about the birds and the bees.
Oh,
so
okay.
That's
different kind of
chickens are another animal that I have on the
Yeah.
farm. But with the bees, it did take me a few years to finally get the courage to want to keep bees on my property. The people that owned the property before me, the gentleman had kept bees, several beehives. There's some old photos, aerial photographs and things, and the hives are all around the barns there and that. And I had planted fruit trees when I first moved to the farm. This will be my 9th year of having the farm, and had the fruit trees. And I decided, bees go along with fruit trees. They help with the pollination and all of that. And kind of went a little bit crazy. I have about 2 acres. My farm is 5 acres. I took 2 acres of it and turned it into kind of a pollinator area, so to speak, kind of let it go wild. And it was the perfect fit for getting the bees. And I actually got hooked. I suggest this to anyone. If you're looking to getting into bees, get with a beekeeper and go into the hives with them. You'll know right off the bat if you love it or not. And for myself,
I'm guessing so. Yeah.
I was fully cloaked. I was scared to death. I thought these bees were going to purposely come out and just want to sting me.
Yeah.
And what I actually found out was the smell of the smoker. So the smoker is I liken it to the Tin Man and the Wizard of Oz. So the funnel on top of his head, that's kind of what a smoker looks like. It's a bellows that produces smoke to calm the bees. And the smell of that smoker, the smell of the warm honey and the wax and all of that in the beehive, and I was
their
hooked.
happy place.
Yes.
And yours, it sounds like.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right. So the allure is there. People are interested. So if someone's wanting to get started, how do they go about getting a hive?
So definitely get with a fellow beekeeper. We do have a beekeeping group here in Jackson County, the Beekeepers of Jackson County. They have a Facebook page, and find a mentor, get with somebody, and just pepper them with questions.
Are there beekeeping groups throughout Southern Indiana?
There are.
Okay.
Yes. I do know we've got quite a few. So Columbus is not that far from us. There is a Bartholomew County Beekeepers. And then I'm not as familiar with Scott and Clark in that area, but I know there are several of us around here. And keep in mind, though, just like with anything, you're going to hear lots of opinions, and take what works for you.
Yeah.
Some people will say, this is how it has to be no matter what.
Yeah.
Take what works.
Is there something special about Southern Indiana that lends itself to amazing honey?
I think it does. We have a lot of clover here, a lot of flowering plants, things like that. A lot of people think, so a misconception is that the dandelion is the first flower that the bees go to get the pollen to start their season. It's actually not. It's maple trees, it's the red buds, it's the oaks, it's all of that. It's tree sap that they're getting, or tree pollen that they're getting. And so they'll start to bring that back to the hive. And over time, so bees bees have a special honey stomach that they use, and that's what creates the honey. So you're actually it's kind of weird to think about, but you're actually eating something that the bee has consumed and then
And this is where we cut.
turned it into honey.
That's great. That's just nature. There's so many things like that.
It is.
That's
It's
fascinating.
wild. It is
Yeah.
really wild. So, and I love going down to the beehives and
Yeah.
seeing the bees come and go. A lot of people, they think those bees are there to attack them, and they're not.
Yeah.
They could
They're just
care
there to do their
less.
thing. Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Their main concern is to bring food into the hive, raise
Yeah.
babies, and fun fact. So, being a woman-owned business, most of the working of the hive, actually all of the working in the hive, is all female. There are only males at certain times during the year.
Okay.
So right now, the queen decides when she'll start producing male bees. And those male bees, their sole purpose is to go out and mate with a female. Otherwise, they're just couch potatoes. They don't really do anything for the hive. So at the end of the season, about August, September-ish in that area, the hive will kick out those males and they freeze to death.
Oh my gosh.
So it's all
That's
female.
pretty actually terrible. Okay. Well, on that note, of course, if someone has interest in getting started, you said to get with the beekeeper, they can show them the direction for finding their first
Yes,
hive. Okay,
yes.
fantastic.
And you can purchase bees. For myself, I actually found a friend that had some extra bees, and I purchased that way.
Okay.
That's a great way to get some local bees,
Yeah.
so that they're used to the area, and
that's good.
you're more likely to have more success.
Right. Okay.
If you buy what they call a nucleus, which is a smaller type hive, be ready to spend some cash. Right now, I think the going rate is about $150 to $250
Okay.
for bees. And, you want to, it's an investment.
Yeah.
So
How
you want
much
them to
honey do you
survive.
get out of a hive?
Out of a hive, so a normal hive is 10 frames. And I wish I'd brought a box with me to show you. But you'll get about 100 pounds of honey out of there on
Okay.
a good year.
Wow.
So, yeah,
All right.
it's pretty decent.
Yeah, harvesting and all that. That's super fun, I'm sure.
Yes, it is.
And sticky.
It is. It is. It is. And, take it slow. Ask friends. So there's a
Okay.
extractor that you can use to get the honey out. It's a metal canister thing that has either a crank or it's motorized. And that's an investment as well. So, go into
Most
it.
things good are.
They
Yeah,
are.
yeah,
They are.
exactly.
So,
Well, and you're getting a reward at the end, like your own honey.
That's
so that
right.
sounds great.
That's exactly right.
Stephanie, where can people go get more information or purchasing honey from you, or where can they do that?
absolutely. So they can visit the farm's website. It's purpleshamrockfarm.com. Or I do the Seymour Area Farmers Market here in Seymour.
All right. So if you're in Southern Indiana and want to make the trip to Seymour, you can do that. Check out
Absolutely.
the farmers market and get connected. Also, I just want to give a quick little plug mention. While you're there, you can check out her IPA bites.
Yes.
This is another venture that Stephanie's involved with, homegrown dog treats. So tell me about these real quick before we sign off.
So this is a partnership with a local brewery here in town, Seymour Brewing Company. So I started getting the mash from the brewer 8 years ago, and I was feeding it to my chickens. So I'm very much mindful of recycling, upcycling, that side of things, and started creating the dog treats, made it with eggs from chickens on the farm, and all of a sudden we had IPA bites, which stands for Incredible Pupper Appetizer.
Yeah.
And got a registered trademark on that.
All
That
right.
was wild. And
And can people find these dog treats on your website too?
absolutely.
All right.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
PurpleShamrockFarm.com.
Check them out, purpleshamrockfarms.com. You can get honey and lots of products. But the point is, we love homesteading here in Southern Indiana. So if there's something that you've been thinking of back of your head that you've always wanted to do, this is the area you can do it. We'll be back right here on Southern Indiana Now. I'm Kelly Trask. Welcome back to our agricultural episode. And this is, of course, exciting to bring you all different facets of Southern Indiana on ways that you can use agriculture and the way we do in our different, everything from events to homesteading, whatever. We're going to talk about it all today, of course, on the Southern Indiana Now podcast. We're with Melinda Webb right now, and she's the owner of White Diamond Lavender Farms located in Columbus. So good morning. Well, thanks for joining us today on Southern Indiana Now. And let's talk about where your farm is located. Who doesn't even want to go see a lavender farm? That just sounds like an amazing photo waiting to happen. And let's talk about all the things, is related to that.
Well, we're located in Hope, Indiana. Its address is 9415 East 800 North. We sit on 10 acres, and it was just farmland to begin with. And it actually didn't start as a lavender farm at all. So I do have to mention that. We had my husband and some friends decided to grow saltwater shrimp inside that barn to begin with.
Okay.
And that wasn't sustainable. We had to kind of pivot and do something different. And our daughter got engaged, wanted a barn venue, and we thought, this is a big space. We could make it look cute and have your wedding here. And she agreed. So we all got ready, got the venue cleaned out, and made it just upcycled, recycled a lot of materials, and it was the venue. And then we had all this agricultural land around us, and what are we going to do with it? Well, it was subleased to some farmers for corn and soybeans. And my husband's idea was the lavender. Like, what can we do? And so we took a portion of that, and I said, I don't know anything about lavender. What? Why did he think of that? But it was beautiful. I started researching it. I really fell in love with the flower and all the different uses that you can have with it. And we just did a test plot of about 100 plants to begin with, and figured out what worked and what didn't work. And we're still learning, but that's how we started with that. And it kind of lent itself to weddings because the colors, the aroma, the symbolism of just what lavender does for you overall. And we now have just under 1,000 plants in the ground.
All right. So 1,000 plants. What do you do with the lavender once it's harvested? And when do you harvest lavender?
So, it peaks in June.
Okay.
And we always have a lavender festival every year. So anyone that wants to come, this year it's June 20th, which is a Friday night. It used to just be one day. Now it's 2 days.
Yeah, definitely get that on your calendars.
June 20th from 4 to 8, and then the 21st from 10 to 4. And we have a lot of people come, and we probably have about 1,500 people come through in that 2-day time frame. And it keeps growing year after year. Our first year, it started with like 100 people. And now we're up to, over 1,000.
Yeah.
And so it's best to come in June when everything's in full bloom, and you can pick a fresh bundle of lavender. And we have lots of other vendors. We have lavender products for sale. We have lavender wine slushies, live music, food trucks, all the things. So it's really a fun time, and that's a really good time to come and visit. We also do picnics in the evenings. It's a great date night. I supply a crate with all the fun things, and you can find a place out on the lawn and enjoy the sunset and enjoy a little refreshments. But what we do we harvest it then for fresh bundles. We dry it. The products that we make lavender neck wraps and eye pillows. I sew those all by hand, and those are filled with fresh dried lavender buds and flaxseed. And that is wonderful to be able to put in the microwave just for like a minute. And then you can place that over your eyes, around your neck. It will help you fall asleep. We do sachets, which everybody, those are, you put those in your drawer, make your clothes smell nice and fresh. A few people leave them in their car when the sun hits the windshield, like they'll put it in their windshield, and then it just kind of heats up because the oil is trapped in the bud. And so just by crushing that, it will release the smell, and it's just really relaxing.
I love that. So here's a family that just decided we're going to have a lavender farm. And those are the types of dreams that can come true right here in Southern Indiana. So Melinda, if someone's listening and think, you know what, I've got an acre, I've got a few acres, I want to do something similar. What kind of advice would you give them just to get started? Or what are some good first steps?
They need to do a soil test first.
Okay.
Our soil, it can be amended, which ours is clay, and that's not really conducive to growing lavender. That was one of our challenges. So We amended the soil with some gravel. Lavender really doesn't like good soil. It likes poor soil. It doesn't like a lot of water, and clay holds on to water. So we built up in rows because that way, if it rains, the water will flow away and not sit the roots in the water. So a soil test to see what kind of soil you have. If you have something that's not really great, you can kind of just add some gravel and make sure it's mounded up. It likes full sun.
Okay.
It's not going to work in shade at all. So 6 to 8 hours of full sun. It likes hot sun, dry. It doesn't like to be wet. So
Yeah, well, but it's hating the weather right now.
the rain's not good for it right now.
to the lavender fields. Okay, I love that you're able to create that. Any thoughts that you want to share with folks watching about either starting a business in Southern Indiana as related to agriculture, all the ways that we do have sustainability? What are some things that you're doing there at the farm?
Well, some of the things, I mean, first and foremost, our weddings are a big point of interest on the weekends. We do host a lot of weddings in the summer, but through the week, I think it's just nice that when you can have a product and be able to give back to the community. What do people want? They want an experience. So if you can create a wonderful experience for them to come out and enjoy nature, enjoy what you've created, because I have so many people that come and they just love it. They just like being there.
Yeah.
And they come, they ask permission to come and just walk and meditate. And
Now, can you get pictures taken there? If someone wants to use it for a photo shoot?
yes. So we have a lot of people that do want to do that. And I, with an appointment, and I just do like an hour time slot or more if somebody wants to have more time. But yes.
Okay.
Photographs are a big thing.
I love it. Where can they find you if they want to get more information, Melinda?
We have a website. So whitediamondlavenderfarms.com. They can go there, and I have my events there. We have a little store online. They can get information about the wedding venue and our Airbnb.
All right, fantastic. Don't forget, yes, you can definitely stay there too. They have all the accommodations, and you mentioned that was an older farmhouse or an older homestead that had been converted, right?
Yes. Yeah. So there's all sorts of things. Like we like the old and making it new.
The heirloom. All right, I love it. You will too. Get that on your summer plans, but you can go check it out. And again, White Diamond Lavender Farm. We'll be back.
Welcome back to Southern Indiana Now. I'm Kelly Trask, and we're on with Carrie Miller, and she's part of the big thing you don't want to miss. A lot of Saturdays coming up here in just before we blink. And Carrie, let's talk about the farmers market.
Sounds great. Good morning.
Good morning. All right, so let's talk about when is the farmers market, what people can find there when they go, especially if they've never been, and just tell us a little bit about how we can get involved with that.
Sure. So I think what most people might not know is we do the farmers market year-round. So we actually have one winter market left, and that is the third Saturday of the month, which is on the April 19th. And then during the summer months, we do it every week. So we start Mother's Day weekend, and we'll go all the way through September, and then we'll start the winter market in October.
I love that. Apparently, I was one of those people that did not know you had a year-round farmers market. I love it. It's something you just think about in the summer, so that's good. So how can people get connected if they're like, well, I want to check that out this weekend or the next that weekend you mentioned? What do they need to do?
Sure. So most of our information is readily available online. So we do have Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, but we use Facebook the most, I will mention. We are under the Jackson County Chamber, so our actual website is through the Chamber, and we're under the Seymour Farmers Market on their page if they were interested in learning about being a vendor or seeing all of the hours.
Okay, fantastic. Well, is there anything else? What's your favorite thing you have found at the farmers market, and what's kind of a must-see when you go?
So I'm a Jackson County girl. I was born and raised here, but I moved away for about 23 years. So coming back, of course, the anticipated melon season is always a hot time at the market. But we have everything we have is either handmade, homemade, or homegrown. So it's just kind of a different experience throughout the entire season because you don't know what fruits and vegetables are going to be coming at you that week. And people might not know this as well, but Humble Joe's started at the farmers market, and their coffee truck comes each week as well.
All right, so lots of fun things to find at the farmers market. What do people need to bring with them, Carrie?
So most of our vendors accept electronic payment, but some of them only accept cash. So I would recommend having a little bit of cash on hand. And, of course, we love for folks to bring recyclable totes with them because that really just helps our environment even more.
Absolutely. Well, make sure you plan to get outdoors and support local and enjoy some fresh produce and fruits and vegetables, all the things that you can find throughout the year, really, and more. It's really more than that. So you can take advantage of all things farmers market, and you'll just enjoy that there in Jackson County. But you can go online, and we'll try to bring you some other locations for area farmers markets as we get throughout the season. We'll be back here on Southern Indiana Now. I'm Kelly Trask.
Welcome back to another great episode of Southern Indiana Now. I'm Kelly Trask, and of course, we are ready to venture in one of my favorite categories of the podcast, and that's Who's Your Good News. And we're talking with Kelsie Rieker today all about 4-H. We're going to talk about how 4-H shapes the culture of Southern Indiana, why kids get involved. But first of all, we should probably define what it is and tell everybody that's maybe not even from Southern Indiana what actually is 4-H. How do kids get involved, and what are some different levels of involvement they can do, Kelsie?
So in Southern Indiana, really, 4-H is a national program, but it's very prevalent in Southern Indiana. And 4-H is a great way to be involved with like hands-on projects that teach kids really valuable skills. In this area, livestock is a really popular way to be involved, but we also see a lot of kids involved with sewing and cake decorating and preserving baked goods. And it's just a great way to get your kids involved with something where they get to present what they've worked on. But it also teaches them excellence. It teaches them competition and, I don't know, just pride in like what you can create.
Well, and life skills. Baking,
skills.
sewing, all the things, no matter who you are, you're going to do that at least some point in your life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about what is the timetable? Is this a year-round program? Can kids jump in and jump back out depending upon their schedules? How does that work, Kelsie?
So the Jackson County Fair takes place typically the last week of July. And so it kind of depends on the project that you're working on. Some kids will go ahead and start working on their projects a year ahead of time to get a jump on it. But your 4-H group begins meeting throughout the year, typically December-ish. And then they will meet periodically between that time and then the fair. And so you can work on your projects. If you have livestock, you're working on that project year round. You're prepping those animals. So, but some kids, if you're just doing a baked good, obviously, you would maybe practice
You can't
that.
make that a well in advance.
Right. Yeah.
All right. So tell me, I know you love 4-H. You've been involved with it several years, especially in the Southern Indiana area. Tell me about a couple of favorite memories or maybe a couple of lessons that you've learned from your experience in 4-H.
So I actually met my husband and his family through 4-H.
Okay.
My mother-in-law was my 4-H leader, and we showed dairy goats together. And one of my best memories is we used to have meetings at what is now my in-laws' parents' house, so my husband's grandparents' house. And I remember one year we made ice cream in their living room from goat milk, and we enjoyed that. And then years later, when I had married into the family, I had these sweet memories of being a child there. Yeah, sweet memories, yes. So just a great memory of.
I love that. So if someone's listening, regardless of where you are in Southern Indiana, and they're watching this and trying to figure out, okay, how can I connect my kiddo with 4-H? Who do I need to talk to? What's the best way that you would recommend them starting, Kelsie?
So you can go to the website. You can look up 4-H online, but you can also call your courthouse. That's typically where they're going to be distributing those items for you to get involved with 4-H, get you connected into a 4-H group. you can also contact a local leader, if you know somebody who's a leader, and they can help you get involved.
All right. One other question. So I know a lot of kids get experience with the livestock or, the baking side, the sewing side, even the growing side, produce, making sure that, the world's largest tomato, whatever the case is. I always love going to the 4-H, just the agricultural part, the produce part. You never know what's going to happen. Can you tell me a little bit about how those experiences help shape career paths or even some different career interests for those kids?
Yeah. So first of all, if you are dedicated to 4-H and you decide to be a 10-year member, there's a lot of scholarship opportunities. So
Okay.
there's actually a 10-year member 4-H scholarship you can receive, which looks great when you're applying to colleges, especially colleges with an agriculture focus like Purdue University. Very involved in 4-H. So it just shows that you have dedication to work on a project and complete it with excellence. So, but also, so very practically speaking, you can learn skills like cake decorating and use that and apply that into a career in the future. But a lot of the kids in this area are children of farmers and may decide to go into a career that is farming based. And so growing up, having the responsibility of feeding that animal, taking care of that animal, and then maybe even sending that animal to market, it teaches life skills, how to take care of a farm, but also how to part with an animal that you've cared for.
Yeah.
But that's how we provide food.
Absolutely. I had a friend who had 2 cows in their backyard, and they were named lunch and dinner. So their kids never lost sight of what the purpose was. Okay. If you have a parent listening, maybe a kiddo is involved in sports and some other things, but still might like to get in the realm of 4-H, can they do that? How can they decide how their time works?
Yeah, I would definitely encourage your kids to get involved in 4-H. Okay. I know that there's a lot that is grabbing for our time these days. Your kids are in sports, your kids are in school and church, and all of those things are really great. But I think there's something to be said about your kid doing something that is not on a screen and it's
hands-on.
Yeah, it's hands-on. It's represented in our community well.
Right.
As I said, there's been a decline in involvement in 4-H. So get involved, reach out to the courthouse and see if they can get you plugged in.
Yeah.
And
enjoy it. Sounds like a great way to do some time is to learn some skills that's going to help you in the future. So do get connected with your local 4-H office. If you have some questions, you can track down Kelsie too through that way, and then you can get your kiddos involved in 4-H. We'd love to see it. We'll be back. Hey, want to remind you of some other events happening in and around the area. We've got the Wildflower Weekend. That's Saturday, April 12th, starting at 11 o'clock. It's going to be at Clifty Falls State Park. You don't want to miss that. There's going to be tons of wildflowers. You're going to get really educated on all those sorts of things around the park there. So you can also check out Main Street Corridon's annual spring wine walk. That's also on Saturday, April 12th. That sounds like a great day to me, driving all around Southern Indiana, because that doesn't start till 1:30 and goes till 7. And I just have to have a valid ID for that. And then, of course, kids yoga in Columbus. So April 12th, also from 11:30 to 12:30. And that's going to be located on Washington Street for kids ages 5 to 9. So if you've got some kiddos and they love getting fit and you want to introduce yoga to them, you can do that in Columbus. Thanks for listening and watching us each and every week right here at Southern Indiana Now. Of course, I want to remind you, you can listen to this podcast on our YouTube channel. You can just type it in, Southern Indiana Now. You'll take us right to us. And also, you can check us out on all the other places where podcasts are available. Don't forget to get your tickets to Crossroads Acoustic Fest. You can go to crossroadsacousticfest.com and get connected with the listening experience and the concert type that you want to enjoy for the day that works out best in your schedule. That's coming up at the end of April. We'll be back here next week for Southern Indiana Now. I'm Kelly Trask.